So y'all, let me tell you how the Bible wild today. Now I'm coming out of 2 Kings chapter 9 and 10. And this is God's judgment on Ahab and Jezebel. And when I got done reading this, if this ain't the I'm God and I said what I said and I'm going to do what I said, I don't know what is. So boom, we kick this right off. Elijah sends his servant over to anoint Jehu as king over the people of Israel. But he sends him with specific things. So like 6-7, it says, I have anointed you the king over the people of Israel. And then 7 says, you shall strike the house of Ahab, your master, so that I may avenge the blood of my servants, the prophets, and the blood of the servants of the Lord, who have died at the hands of Jezebel. And it continues on. It says, for the entire house of Ahab shall perish. I will cut off from Ahab every male, both bound and free in Israel. I will make the house of Ahab and the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of these others that ain't had no good right sense. And in verse 10, it say, and the dogs will eat Jezebel in the territory of Jezreel. Not only will the dogs eat her, there will be no one to bury her. Can y'all imagine just how evil and disgusting this person was? So can you imagine one of God's servants coming up to you and being like, yo, bro, I need to talk to you real quick. Yo, by the way, you gonna be king or the next president. And then, oh, by the way, I need you to kill these people. So he went back to his camp with the people and was like, yo, no. They were like, yo, what does that man say? Well, like, what did that quack say? And he's like, yo, he said this and this. And then he said I was going to be king. And they were like, nah, for real, get out of here. Are you for real? And he was like, no, I'm for real. And this is where I knew instantly we was going to be in for something. Because I suspected that as soon as he got this anointing, that he was going to jump right into action. Guess what? That's exactly what he did. He went immediately and plotted to go ahead and kill that king. So now the king, Jeroboam, or however you say his name, he was already wounded because he decided he was going to be big and bad and go up against King Hazael, which was the king of Syria at the time, and he was wounded in battle. So Jehu was on a mission. He had to get things done because see, the servant already gone told him what's what. So he was trying to make sure that these things was going through. The plans was planning. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, let me go ahead and tell y'all that these kings already, they were evil. Okay. They were just really doing whatever they wanted to. They were in idolatry. They were having big old sex parties, and sacrificing their kids, eating their kids. Like it was very demonic and stuff anyways. Not to mention, Ahab was like this big old crybaby who was a spoiled brat who was always trying to get his way. And Jezebel's he was married to, and he had already done some really wicked stuff anyway, which is the reason why this word came down. The Lord had already told him, I said what I said, and you gonna die and your line going in. Okay. So he already knew these people should already knew what was up because this message was definitely given from Elijah to them. But nonetheless, moving on. So when Jehu go up against the king, he's like, yo, he's trying to figure out the king scrambling. He's like, yo, do you come in peace? Do you come in peace? And Jehu wasn't hearing none of that. He was just like, yo, I'm coming about my business. Jehu was so about that business that when the king, he tried to flee from him, and Jehu came through and was like, yo, in verse 24, it says he drew his bow and with his full strength shot the king between his shoulders, and the arrow went out through his heart and he sank down in his chariot. Then this is where we see things come full circle, because Jehu said to one of his officers to pick him up and throw him on the property of the field of Naboth. And this is where it comes full circle. Now, real quick, like I told you, things come full circle because Naboth is the one man that this man did wrong, that King Ahab did wrong by taking his land, because he liked the vineyard and he asked to buy it, but the man was like, no, you ain't buying my land. I'm not to give it to you. Like, in other words, this is my legacy, you're not getting it. This is what the Lord gave me. You're not getting it. And so he went crying to his wife, Jezebel. And guess what Jezebel did? She decided to do something equally as evil and decided to find some people to lie on this man so that the man would have no choice but to give up his land because they were going to kill him. And so they killed the man and took his land. And guess Ahab just hopped his little happy butt over there like, oh, everything's everything. Wrong. So in verse 25, when it's say that Jehu told the officer to pick him up and throw him on the land, that's where we see the full circle. Because what you thought was you going to get away with this. And the Lord has showed time and time again, you can't get away with nothing. And this was a clear sign that God will set things right. So even though this was harsh, Jehu was actually restoring order. Now, Jehu didn't just kill that king. He killed the other king that was with him. He tried to flee, and it ain't work out too well for him. So now that he got one line's judgment, now he about to get, Jezebel's judgment. Now, this is why I tell y'all, man, the Bible be straight wilding. And this is why I say the Bible be wilding, because when he came to Jezreel, Jezebel heard about it, and she was up in an upper window. And Jehu was like, yo, who's with me? And they kind of made themselves known. And he was like, yo, if you with me, throw her down. And it said in verse 33, and he said, throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood splattered on the wall and on the horses, and he trampled her underfoot. And then you know what he did? He came in and he ate and drank. Straight wilding. But this is what you learn, that pride and idolatry, no matter if it's not immediately addressed by God, it definitely has consequences. Then we get to the next chapter and we find out that Ahab has 70 sons. That's a lot of kids. So Jehu was not done there. He still has some other work to get done. So anyways, Jehu ended up writing this letter. And this letter said, y'all take the heads of your master's sons and come to me in Jezreel tomorrow about this time. In other words, Ahab kids, all these people that were branched out in their line, yeah, bring me their heads. And do you know what they did? They did just what that letter said. They took the king's sons, slaughtered them, 70 persons, put their heads in baskets, and sent them to Jehu. And after Jehu killed all these people, he still wasn't done. Now, the other king that was with old boy Jeroboam, King Hazael, yeah, he wasn't left out of this mix either. At first, he took these people captive. Now, this was the disturbing part to me, and this is why I don't follow a lot of these people that be calling some of these celebrities Queen Mother stuff, because of what I've been reading in here, okay? It says, verse 13, it says that he took those relatives who are you? Then they told him, we are the relatives of Uzziah, and we came down to greet the royal princes and the sons of the Queen Mother, Jezebel. The Queen Mother. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. And he told them, take them alive. But then he later slaughtered them. Yeah, but he still ain't done killing. Then he summoned all the people and prophets of Baal and all the worshipers. And he said, let no one be missing from this great sacrifice. In other words, he lying straight, telling them that we going to do something, but it was all for a lie. It's all a lie. He gets them together in this building, make sure that they all hyped up and everything, then have his guards outside. And the guards go in there and slaughter the entire house. And then they burned it. And if that wasn't enough for you, I felt like, whew, that's enough of that. It said Jehu did all of this work and did all these things, but did not turn from his sins and was like the rest of these people. So he did all this work to further his agenda and still decided to chart his own path. Yeah.